needs be, father. There will be conflict, endless misunderstanding. All life is that. Great and little cannot understand one another. But in every child born of man, Father Redwood, lurk some seeds of greatness, waiting for the food. Then I am to go to Cataham again and tell him. You will stay with us, Father Redwood. Our answer goes to Cataham at dawn. He says that he will fight. So be it, said young Redwood, and his brethren murmured assent. The iron waits! Cried a voice, and the two giants who were working in the corner began a rhythmic hammering that made a mighty music to the scene. The metal glowed out far more brightly than it had done before, and gave Redwood a clearer view of the encampment that had yet come to him. He saw the oblong space to its full extent, with the great engines of warfare ranged ready to hand. Beyond and at a higher level, the house of the Cossars stood. Above him were the young giants, huge and beautiful, glittering in their mail, amidst the preparations for the morrow. The sight of them lifted his heart. They were so easily powerful, they were so tall and gracious, they were so steadfast in their movements. There was his son amongst them, and, for the first of all giant women, the princess. There leapt into his mind the oddest contrast, a memory of Bensington, very bright and little, Bensington with his hand amidst the soft breast of feathers of that first great chick, standing in that conventionally furnished room of his, peering over his spectacles dubiously as cousin Jane banged the door. It had all happened in a yesterday of 21 years. Then suddenly a strange doubt took hold of him, that this place and present greatness were but the texture of a dream, that he was dreaming, and would in an instant wake to find himself in his study again, the giants slaughtered, the food suppressed, and himself a prisoner locked in. What else indeed was life but that? Always to be a prisoner locked in. This was the culmination and end of his dream. He would wake through bloodshed and battle to find his food the most foolish of fancies, and his hopes and faith of a greater world to come no more than the coloured film upon a pool of bottomless decay. Littlest, invincible. So strong and deep was this wave of despondency, this suggestion of impending disillusionment, that he started to his feet. He stood and pressed his clenched fists into his eyes, and so for a moment remained, fearing to open them again and see, lest the dream should already have passed away. The voice of the giant children spoke to one another, an undertone to that clangorous melody of the smiths. His tide of doubt ebbed. He heard the giant voices, he heard their movements about him still. It was real, surely it was real, as real as spiteful acts, more real, for these great things, it may be, are the coming things, and the littleness, bestiality, and infirmity of men are the things that go. He opened his eyes. "Done!" cried one of the two iron workers, and they flung their hammers down. A voice sounded above. The son of Cossar, standing on the great embankment, had turned and was now speaking to them all. "It is not that we would oust the little people from the world," he said, "in order that we, who are no more than one step upwards from their littleness, may hold their world for ever. It is the step we fight for, not ourselves. We are here, brothers, to what end? To serve the spirit and the purpose that has been breathed into our lives. We fight not for ourselves, for we are but the momentary hands and eyes of the life of the world. So you, Father Redwood, taught us. Through us and through the little folk of the spirit looks and learns. From us, by word and birth and act, it must pass to still greater lives. The earth is no resting place. This earth is no playing place. Else, indeed, we might put our throats to the little people's knife, having no greater right to live than they, and they in turn might yield to the ants and vermin. We fight not for ourselves, but for growth, growth that goes on for ever. Tomorrow, whether we live or die, growth will conquer through us. This is the law of the spirit for evermore, to grow according to the will of God, to grow out of these cracks and crannies, out of these shadows and darknesses, into greatness and the light. Greater," he said, speaking with slow deliberation, "greater, my brothers, and then still greater, to grow and again to grow at last into the fellowship and understanding of God, growing till the earth is no more than a footstool, till the spirit shall have driven fear into nothingness and spread." He swung his arm heavenward. "There!" His voice ceased. The white glare of one of those searchlights wheeled about, and for a moment fell upon him, standing out gigantic, with hand upraised against the sky. For one instant he shone, looking up fearlessly into the starry depths, mail-clad, young and strong, resolute and still. Then the light had passed, and he was no more than a great black outline against the starry sky, a great black outline that threatened with one mighty gesture the firmament of heaven and all its multitude of stars. End of Book 3, Chapter 5. End of The Food of the Gods and How It Came to Earth, by H. G. Wells. Recorded by Alex E. Talander, Davis, California. www.alexetalander.com